a slight technical difficulties.
Some equipment issues.
Yeah, our equipments are also very hot. I hope everyone is staying cool. Our office is like no AC right now and probably like 90 degrees in here.
Yeah.
But anyways, welcome. Thank you for joining our part 2 of wedding planning and preparing for marriage. Well, today's episode is actually brought to you by one of our gala sponsors, Gohl Choe Chiropractic. Wedding planning isn't just about choosing flowers or tasting cakes. It's really, you also have to take care of yourself during the process. And so, if you've ever been injured yourself, or you've ever injured yourself by sleeping, congratulations, you've now graduated into needing a chiropractor. So this is where Gohl Choe Chiropractic comes in. Unlike many chiropractic offices that rushes you in and out of the office, Gohl Choe uses Gonstead's system of chiropractic, a highly specific hands-on adjustment that focuses on finding the exact cause of your problem, not just chasing symptoms. For over 20 years, they've helped people in our community to move better, feel better, and get back to doing what they love. So if you're tired of temporary fixes, discover the difference that precise chiropractic care can make at Gohl Choe Chiropractic. Experience the power of a well-adjusted spine. They're located in Glendale, California. So this is their. So we really want to say thank you to Gohl Choe Chiropractic for sponsoring our gala. We really look forward to meeting you and seeing you at the event in September. And so today we are talking about the fun stuff of wedding.
Is it fun?
Well, as long as you're not the one planning,
yeah, right.
It's fun. So I don't know if many of you know, but Shayna is a event planning guru, and before she came to join KFAM, and I think she might still do it for fun on the side. No, okay. KFAM apparently doesn't give her time to have fun stuff on the side, but she used to help wedding plan and do the day of event coordinator, right? Day of wedding coordinator. So she is here to share all her knowledge and tips for anyone who is planning a wedding or about to plan a wedding. Please, she's about to share everything. So take some notes, leave us lots of comments, and let us know if you have any questions. We would love to help you.
Yeah. If you have a wedding coming up, if you have some questions that you'd like to ask, or if you have a horror story from your wedding you want to share, we always like listening to those as well. And I can go over that. I am dressed in my event coordinator outfit today. So this is what I would typically wear as a coordinator. And before we start, as a disclaimer, these are just general tips, advice. Every wedding is different. Every event is different. So take with it a grain of salt. These are just general guidelines and tips that could or not help you. But yeah. So let's start.
Yeah.
Do you remember your wedding?
So I remember my wedding, like how many years ago? I do remember my wedding though.
How was it? Good memories?
Overall, it was good memory.
Planning part of it?
Planning part was pretty overwhelming. So I think kind of early on, I realized that I need to just give up like caring so much. Because I realized like there's so many options. And so I really could spend like hours picking a different shade of pink, right? Like I'm just like, so I actually like that became my motto the rest of the time, and it helped a little bit. Like just don't care so much. Like it's okay.
Yeah. I think that's a good advice in that I think people forget the meaning behind what a wedding is. It's not about having the perfect event. There is no such thing. I will tell you, after many years of doing this, there will never be a perfect day, no perfect wedding, no perfect ceremony. Something will go wrong. That is guaranteed. But in the end, it's all about you and the person that you love standing up in front of the people that you both love and saying that they're gonna hold you accountable, that you're starting this new life together. That's all that really needs to happen, and everything above that is just fun. Like it should be fun. So yeah. just I think keeping that in mind
Right.
instead of it has to be perfect.
Right.
It's not. It's not
No,
gonna be.
no.
You're
Yeah.
just gonna stress yourself out.
Right.
So I guess my first tip would be is to work as a team. I think most times
Who's in the team though? I think we gotta clarify
okay.
who's in the team.
So the team will always be fiancés.
The bride.
That is the main team.
The
right?
couple.
Yeah, the couple. And I think what usually happens, and I don't know, you can correct me, is usually most times the person that proposed think their job is over after that.
we won't say a specific gender.
Yeah, no specific gender. It's just now it's your turn to take over. No, that is not the case. You are a team, and this is something that both of you are gonna hopefully enjoy, and you know it's both of your families coming together, so it's great to have both points of views there. And then also within that team, you should figure out what your strengths and your weaknesses are. So, for example, someone might really love food, whereas the other person might not care as much. Or someone might be more people-oriented or detail-oriented, or someone might really care about what music is made. So using those, then you just divide and conquer, right? So if I really care about the food, then I'm in charge of the caterer. If I really care about what music is going to get played, then I should be finding the DJ, making the playlist. So it's basically, finding your strengths and weaknesses and how you can work together as a team. And then another tip is to focus on what is important to both of you rather than on what everyone else is doing. I know social media is a big, this is what's trending, or they're doing that, so I need to do that.
Right.
No.
Right. Guys, like that's where you get lost.
Yeah.
Like the different like little gifts or like after party, like things like that, right?
Party.
Yeah.
It's so much, right? So I think even before the wedding planning should start is figuring out what means the most to both of you is what I would suggest. Yeah. And then another thing is there could be cultural differences, not just within the couple if you're biracial or whatever. Not just that, but also between generations from parents to children. And just using Korean Americans for an example, weddings in Korea much different from weddings in America. And so if the parents were never married in the US and their experience is only from weddings in Korea, their idea of what a wedding is much different from what your idea of a wedding would be. Right. And so that can lead to a lot of misunderstandings, just a lot of arguments. And so that's something just to keep in mind. Okay. So first off, I know a lot of times a big question is budget. I can't go into depth on budget because budgets will be different for every couple. And there's no set percentage amount like, 30% should be venue. That's not how it goes. But you should set a budget and be realistic about it. And that's something you should talk to your fiance about is what are you putting in? What am I putting in? Or where's the money coming from? Are parents going to be helping? And then that will be your baseline for your budget. But, and you'll probably know this, is that it's hard to stay within that budget.
No.
So what I would suggest is whatever budget you have, I would create a buffer. And these are for all the little things that you don't think of right away, because normally people will think about the big items, venue, caterer, bartenders, DJ, photographer. But then it's actually all the little stuff, all the details that can add up and add on to your budget that you never thought. Because you're thinking like, it's only $1 per person. Then
it's like 250 people. It's $250.
Exactly.
Well, is there like a average money, like stats these days? Like how much people
Again,
pay?
it depends on what type of wedding you're gonna have, where you're gonna have it. I would say typically in California, Southern California probably, you're probably looking anywhere between for an average wedding, if you're lucky, maybe 50,000 minimum, up towards 100,000.
Yeah.
And it can go up, of
Above
course,
that, of
yeah,
course.
depending on what
Yeah.
you have. But yeah, and so the I think, yeah, a lot of times people will forget that those little things will cost you more in money and in time than you think it will. So those are just some tips for budgeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think prioritizing, right? Like what do you care about
Yeah.
the most? So actually that is one thing I did when I got married is photographer was very important to us because I felt like if you have a good photographer, it doesn't matter what the venue is.
Right.
Like they'll still get
Right.
a really good shot, right? So then we did spend a lot of money on our photographer and then much less proportion in proportion in terms of like venue and things like that.
Yeah. So again, yeah, picking what's most important to you and then you go from there. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. It happens when you get old.
So venue. Well, maybe we'll jump into venue since I mentioned venue.
Okay. So yeah, again, it's depending on your budget, what you guys want. A lot of right now, what's really big are courthouse weddings.
Right.
And I can see that. Like, if you don't want to spend that amount of money on one day, then having that small, intimate gathering is perfectly fine too. Again, that's something that you need to decide as a couple. You know, what works within your budget, what's realistic within your means. Usually what people will choose between is indoor, outdoor venues. Are you going to have it locally, a destination? So, you know, pros and cons for everything, but you should know your area, right? And that will help you decide what type of venue you have. Like in Southern California, you're pretty safe having an outdoor wedding in the summer. Even up to, I would say, September, October, you're pretty safe from rain. But depending on where you live in the country, you should know your weather patterns, right? Like if you know you have a lot of rain in the summer, you might be safer going indoor. But if you really want that outdoor wedding venue, what I would suggest is having a tent prepared in case. Just having that ready, then you're kind of like not scrambling last minute to figure out what you're going to do. And then destination versus locally. Again, pros and cons for that as well. Destination, you're probably going to see a lot of drop in numbers and guests. I don't know that necessarily it will cost less or more than if you were to do it locally. That just depends on your destination. So,
like I've heard couples choosing destination because they don't want to deal with cutting guests. Like it's kind of an easy out to be like, oh, sorry, couldn't invite you. Or naturally they won't come because, and then you don't have to worry about hurting anyone's feelings.
But then I would also say, and not all couples will do this, but some couples will, like, you know, they will pay for the family members, you know, their hotel, their flights. So that's something you might like take into consideration too. If that's something you don't want to do, make sure they know ahead of time.
Well, we have a couple questions.
Okay.
So one is just might be a slightly off topic, but we can still address it. Well, Sue Park says, my friend's children are now 20 and 22, 20-year-old's already married, 22 is already engaged. Why do people get married so early here? Which I must say, though, that's odd.
Yeah.
Because statistically, the trend is like 40 plus these days.
Do they go to church?
Maybe they go to church. It's very different. It's cultural, religious reasons why. But honestly, this particular kids are an anomaly.
Yeah, I would say on average people are like 30s at least.
Late
30s at least.
now. Yeah. And then H.O., she said, my friend's parents live in Korea while her fiance's family lives in the U.S. What would be the best way to plan the wedding so both families feel included?
Okay, I guess that depends. is the wedding in Korea? Is the wedding in the U.S.? I think that probably needs to be clarified. I have heard of couples that will do both, like a wedding in Korea for the families in Korea, and then a wedding in the U.S. for the families in the U.S. But probably parents will attend both
Usually,
ceremonies.
right.
Yeah. So just, I think, I'm not sure what part of it they want to know how to.
Right. Well,
you know.
I wonder, I think it really depends on budget. So I think it's a couple that has a pretty big budget, then they might have, I've seen couples like full-blown wedding both places.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, I think typically it's kind of like you pick the most guests you would get, and
Right.
then that becomes your main wedding, and then you kind of have a smaller reception, right?
Yeah.
Like that's usually what happens, right?
Or if anything, you could like you said, let's say have the big one, like big wedding in the U.S. and then have a smaller reception in Korea. Like
Right.
go on your honeymoon to Korea and then have a smaller reception there, or vice versa. But yeah,
I will say whatever the couple wants, right? Like whatever your friend wants.
yeah.
Because
Don't go by what the parents.
Yeah.
We're gonna go over this later, but yeah.
whatever the couple wants. Okay.
Okay. So still going in line with the venue. So a lot of people will ask, so how far in advance should I book a venue? It varies. More popular venues might get booked out at least a year in advance, depending on the day of the wedding. So for us, when we plan our galas, in the past it's been on Thursdays. I could get away with booking a venue like 7 months out because Thursdays are not very popular. But if you're going for a Saturday, definitely you want to book that far, far in advance. I would say Fridays and Sundays are a little bit less, but still, if there's a venue that you really like, book it that's probably the first thing you want to book because everything else will fall into line after that. And then questions you want to ask the venue, do they have a preferred list of vendors? Do they charge to use outside vendors? And then do they have in-house catering? Will they charge if you want to use a different caterer? What are their restrictions as far as what can and cannot be done in the space? What equipment do they provide? Most venues will provide like the tables and chairs, but not all of them will provide like linens. So then that's something that you would have to rent. And then also, what is the end time for the wedding versus the final end time, including breakdown? So venues, as soon as you go over a minute over that time, and they'll either charge you like half an hour or an hour, regardless of how long you're there. So that's just something to keep in mind. Making sure you're reading those contracts very carefully, asking all questions before you sign anything. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, this kind of happens with churches too. So for folks who wants to get married, like the ceremony at a church, I find that like some churches require that their pastor officiate, or like somehow they're part of it. And some churches, they don't care. And so if you're very particular on like you want a specific person to officiate your wedding, I think
good question
that
to
has
ask.
to be also.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I heard there's such thing as, this first time learning about it, wedding tax?
Yes. You might have heard it as well, wedding tax. What people believe is that venues, vendors will charge more as soon as you say the event is a wedding. I mean, I think for venues, that's harder to say because they have set prices. Of course, they charge more on weekends. That's when most weddings happen. But that's for it. That will be across the board for any event that's there, regardless. But vendors, I would say yes and no. And that's because they understand that this day is hopefully once in a lifetime event. And so that means it requires a lot more attention to detail. It's just something that they understand the importance of the day. And so yes, they may charge more. I would say photographers for weddings will charge more because there's a lot more that goes into it as opposed to an event photographer. So yeah, wedding tax, I mean, it's just, yeah, that's just what they call it, but it's just going to cost
Okay. So, I mean, as you're talking about, like,
Uh-huh.
you got to find out and make sure the vendor provides linens, whatever. Like,
Mhm.
okay, how do you stay on track? Is there, I mean, like, really, I don't even know how, I don't think I had a thing. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not very super organized, so I
Yeah, yeah.
probably didn't track very well, but what do you suggest?
I think you.
Oh,
Okay.
this one.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
So I would say if you have a wedding planner, that is the best way to keep track because they will keep you on track. But let's say you are just doing it on your own. There's a lot of great sites like the Knot, there's Zola, Joy that have built-in wedding planning like tools for you to help, or you just keep it on like a Google Doc that you and your fiance can check and see together. Basically, it's like a project. It's just a big project, project management. If you have those skills, you are like a step ahead of everyone.
Hopefully one
So,
of you is that
yeah,
type of
yeah,
person.
yeah.
We have a question from Julie.
Uh-huh.
How do you decide on overall theme for your wedding venue?
Okay, yes, that is a thing that we're gonna go over
Oh, okay.
later. So we'll hold off.
Oh,
on
yes.
that. Yeah.
Sorry, I
No
didn't do
worries.
my homework. Okay.
Okay.
So next.
Uh-huh.
So you kind of mentioned about like wedding planner
Mm-hmm.
and day of coordinator,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what's the difference?
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah.
So you'll hear 3 types of coordinators in the wedding planning process, which is wedding planner, day of coordinator, and then a venue coordinator. So the difference between all 3 is wedding planner is basically more full service. They are helping you find vendors, making suggestions. Basically, they're there to help you every step of the way in planning the full wedding, getting your like your mood board to to reality kind of sense. Whereas day of coordinator, they probably won't step in until maybe a few months before the wedding, and then basically they're your go-to person on the day of the wedding. So they're not there to help you plan the wedding. You will have already done that. Basically, what you do is you hand it to them, and then they take over. So I would say for me, I would start stepping in maybe 3 months prior to the wedding, and then I gather everything that they've done, and then I will give realistic suggestions. I think oftentimes couples are very ambitious in what they think can happen or what they want to happen, and so I bring them back down to reality. This isn't going to work. I understand, and then we try to find ways to make something along that line happen, basically. And then venue coordinator is just the person that works at the venue. They're only there to help you, like, I need to turn this light down. Oh, it's too hot in here. Can we turn on the AC? Yeah, so they're basically there as your point of contact for the venue. They're not here to help you. I lost my bouquet. No, they're not going to care.
They don't care.
Unless it's in the restroom and like in the toilet. That's not their job. And so understanding the differences of all 3, and then figuring out what your need is. Like if you understand you are not a planner, like you don't care, you don't want, like, and you can afford it, I would highly suggest hiring a wedding planner.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you love doing this kind of stuff, like you enjoy picking all the, like researching all of that stuff, there are some people who really love doing that, then maybe a route is day of coordinator. And so I would still highly suggest budgeting for a coordinator at least. Yes. And the only reason being is that you don't want 10 different people coming to you on your wedding day asking you questions, right? Yeah. That is the job of the coordinator.
Oh, it's gonna be stressful.
Yeah. Yeah. Like then they're gonna ask you, well, where are the name cards? Where like
they're gonna be like, when does the reception start?
Yeah.
Where's the bathroom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just to take that off your plate so that all you worry about is enjoying the day, getting ready, no stress. And the day of coordinator's job is basically to make sure that you are not stressed out that day, and that they take that on.
Yeah. Well, how do you know, like, the right vendor to pick, right? I mean,
Right.
besides the day of wedding, like coordinator or like photographer, food, like how do you pick it? There's so many choices.
So I know it's a lot. Well, so for day of coordinator at least is I think it's best when it's through references. And that's because you can ask them questions like, oh, how did your day go? Like, what were their strengths? What didn't go well? And then it's because I feel like reviews these days, I don't know, like I'll read through them, but it's like unless you like
everyone
that
sounds really good unless it's like really bad, then like they're like no.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think word of mouth is best from someone that like, oh, let's say you went to a friend's wedding and you liked how it was so smooth running, right? Then you would ask them, did you have a day of coordinator or wedding planner? And then you would ask them. And then most times what I would say is a good question to ask is what was something that went wrong at your wedding and how did they approach it? Because that is their job, basically. Coordinators are problem solvers. And so eventually when something goes wrong, their job is to fix it so that you never know that it even existed or to lessen your stress about it. So that's a great question to ask.
Would that question apply to like other type of vendors too?
Not always because other vendors are not problem solvers, right?
Okay.
So, but definitely when looking for photographers, I think that's more style than anything else. Videographers, same thing. I know a lot of people are using social media content creators these days too. So I think those are more style differences. And then florists, DJ, caterer, officiant, those are all, I still think word of mouth is best, especially if something that you liked. And you trust that person that's giving you the contact. But if that's not the case and you're just going off of reviews, read them all thoroughly. And then what I like to do is I read the negative reviews because then I want to see what the reason was that they didn't like them. If that's something that's going to bother me, then that's probably a no for me as well. And then always with any vendor, a big red flag for me is communication. From the very beginning, if the communication is not clear, if there's a lot of misunderstandings, even from the beginning, like if you guys don't have if you're not on the same page, that's not going to change. You know, like it's kind of like couples, like, oh, he'll get better later. No, it's not going to get better later. It's going to get worse. So communication is the number one thing to look for with a vendor, making sure that they understand what you are, the information that you're giving, and that they understand the vision that you have as well. And then anytime someone's late, that's already out for me. Yeah, so those are some red flags that I would look for.
Okay. So kind of moving on, guest list. Like we talked about that a little bit, right? So
yeah, this is a big one.
I know, because I think so I rarely think it's not the couple who's fighting, but it's the involvement of kind of the family gets involved at this point, right?
Yeah.
When you're picking guest lists. Okay, so who do we invite? And how do we decide that?
I think the most fair way, of course, is let's say the maximum capacity of the venue is 100 people, just for example, 100 people. Then you split it 50-50, right? You get 50, I'll get 50. However, we divide that amongst ourselves, that's up to us. Let's say one person only needs they only need 40. Then you give the other person the extra 10 seats, right? So that's the easiest way. But then within that, right, then my mom needs 20 seats.
Right.
No. No. So I would say there is a caveat though. Let's say parents are paying for the wedding, then you have much less say. But if you and your fiance are paying for the wedding, then no, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if your mom wants to invite the neighbor that used to live from across the street from you 10 years ago. No. The answer is no. And I know a lot of Korean parents, what they do is, oh, I need to get the money back that I give
Right.
to all their kids.
I've heard that. Yeah, all the time.
Like, no.
Yeah.
You know, their business is their own. Their relationships with their friends are their own.
Right.
Your job is not to get more money for your parents.
Yeah.
You know, if they gave out money to their friends, then that should have been on
Yeah.
their own will, not expecting money back.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. So I think what worked out well, so when my cousin got married a few years back, what she did was she gave her parents one table. That's it. You can fill that table with whoever you like, but you're not going above or below that. Like, you can go below it, but you're not going to go above that number. So let's say they got a table of 10. They can invite whoever they like, but you're not going to 11. You're not going to 12. I had a friend that right before her wedding, like, I kid you not, it was like maybe a couple of days before the wedding, her dad was like, oh, I invited so-and-so, just add a seat. She was like, she broke out in hives.
Oh no!
Because it's not that easy. It's not that easy just to add a
no.
seat to a table. There's a lot of things that go into it, but I don't think parents understand that concept.
Well, again, it's that difference of their they don't understand American wedding, right? Like, that's not how it's done here.
Yeah.
It is much more inflexible in a way, you know, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Compared to the Korean culture or Korean weddings, right? So I think it is just, they just don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
It is very stressful.
Yeah.
Or, you know, besides that, like, you can go my route. I said no limit. We had over 500 guests, but because
Really?
I knew, like, we weren't gonna fight them on that.
Okay.
I mean, there were other things that we did the way, because we pay for our wedding, so we did it our way. But that was one thing I was like, I don't want to fight them on this thing. And with parents, we attended a mega church, so they put these announcements during main service. So like over several thousand people were going to show up at my wedding without RSVPing, right? And so we went, and then the food and stuff, we just did Korean catering. Like, so we expected that, and then we just said, you know what, go crazy. Here you go. Invite whoever you want. It's at a church or whatever, right?
Interesting.
That was my solution.
Yeah.
I'm avoidant style when it comes to conflict. I like to avoid.
Again, if that works for you, you know. And then for who should be invited, this is just my rule, but I like the 1-3-6, which is I have to have known the person for at least 1 year. I have to have talked to them within the last 3 months, which is like, it could be text, call, doesn't matter. And then I have to have met them in person within the last 6 months of the time of the date that the invitations are going out. And that's just my general rule. Like, if I ever were to get married, that would be my clear-cut line of who would or would not get invited. And also, do I see this person in my life after the wedding? There's a lot of, I've gone to a lot of weddings where I don't see these people ever again, you know? And not that that's not important, because I was probably an important part of their life at that time.
Yeah.
But like, for me, like, do I see this person in my life after? Because it's a lot of money to host someone for a wedding. And so do I want to, you know, put in that money and that time? And then, of course, with invitations, there's always the RSVP struggle. I will tell you, even with our gala, it's like trying to pull teeth. But, and so, again, the RSVP is not a suggestion. It is a rule because the caterer, at least, they require final counts at least 3 to 4 weeks prior to the date. And now, so technically with caterers, you can probably add a couple more, like, you know, a couple more to your numbers. Maybe you can add it on, but you can't go back down. Right. So once your numbers are set, that's pretty much it. And so the RSVP for your guests, it's not that you're trying to be annoying or mean or whatever. It's that it's something you have to provide to your vendors, right? And so I've seen this thing recently where it's an automatic response for anyone that hasn't RSVP'd by the date, right? So it just sends out a message like, oh, you know, so thank you for being part of our lives. We're so sorry that you can't make it to our wedding, but, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, oh, that is genius, because it alerts them that they're not coming to the wedding, you know?
So it's not even like reminder to RSVP. It's like, sorry, you're not coming.
Yes, it's an automatic. We've
Well,
counted
that'll
you.
catch their attention.
Yes, we've automatically counted you as you're not attending. So I thought that was a great tool to use. So if you can use that, and then also going back to family is how do we handle the plus ones or, but I'm dating. I just started dating someone. Can I invite them? I mean, that's up to you. That's up to the couple, really.
Okay.
If you want to include that person or not, yeah. But yeah.
Not if it's like $100 per plate. I don't know.
Again, it's up to each
I guess
couple.
if you could afford it,
Yeah.
and you don't mind, and
Yeah.
you have the space for it,
Right. Again, up to
guess.
you.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I know another big trend right now is no child weddings.
Yes. That actually makes a lot of people upset sometimes.
On both sides, actually. So it is a more, I've seen it happening more now, is the no child wedding. And that could be for different reasons. It's just, sometimes it's just easier to just say no children allowed rather than pick which child is allowed, or like, if you know some disruptive kids, and instead of saying your child can't come, it's just a no child wedding. But then on the flip side of that, you have to be okay with them not coming, the parents not coming. So you can't have it both ways, because what I've seen is like the couples will be like, well, why can't you come? Well, because you said it was a no child wedding. So you have to understand, you as the couple have to understand, it is a possibility that if the children can't come, the parents also will not be able to attend. But then, the parents have to understand, like, okay, that's what the couple wants, and I just have to, either I need to figure it out on my end, or then we're just not going to go. So it is a touchy subject, but it's just, It's just
It is. Yeah. Okay. So I want to skip to the decor and wedding, because that was a question that came too.
Okay, yes.
Right?
How do you pick it? So again, I would say my tip is don't follow the trends. Pick things that are meaningful for you and your significant other within the couple. Because again, these trends, they will come and go, but and only follow it if it's meaningful for you. Because then at the end of the day, it's like, oh, this wedding really felt like us. Don't worry about who you're gonna, like, you want to make so-and-so happy. No. This is about you two as a couple, right? And so don't worry about what other people are gonna think, because I promise you, they're not gonna remember what floral arrangement you had. Nope. They're not gonna remember, like, the little.
Do you remember what my floral?
Nope. Nope. And I'm into events. I don't remember. I do remember it was buffet style, though, right?
Yeah. Korean food.
I do remember that. And so so don't follow the trends. Figure out what works for you guys as a couple. What's meaningful for you guys, and regardless of people enjoy it or not, as long as you enjoyed it. For me, like, I recently went to my friend's wedding, and I was like, oh, at the end of the night, I was like, oh, that really felt like them. That event was so them, And so I think that is more meaningful. As far as color trends, that's a personal choice.
I think so. Yeah. I think everyone has bride and groom. Like, they have colors that they like. Yeah. Or themes. Like, so, there are people who are like really into Christmas, right? Like, they purposely do it in the winter. Everything is Christmas color. Right?
Yeah. The only thing I would probably suggest is, depending on the time of year that you're going to get married, figure out what flowers are in season during that time, so that like, if you're trying to get, I don't know, like a purple flower in like spring, that may or may not be, like, but you may pay more. So figure out what color flowers are in season during the time that you want to get married, and then maybe start working off of that. Especially because a lot of the times it's a lot of the floral colors that do that.
That's a really good tip. Starting with flowers, maybe that's a good place. We have one more question. Well, maybe we can end this question as more of a just general question. But any other things about timeline tips you like to share before we end?
So definitely people underestimate how long everything will take.
Yeah.
Oh, I scheduled 15 minutes to take such and such picture. No, it will not take that long. So, and this is where a wedding planner or wedding coordinator can help, definitely, like give you more realistic timelines. But whatever you scheduled, I would probably add another 10, 15 minutes to that. So let's say like, oh, I want to take a bridal group pictures from, this time to this time. Maybe not. Like someone might arrive late getting ready, or you have to be flexible in that. So adding those buffers will definitely help you to avoid a rushed day, because you don't want to feel like you're being rushed because then you forget everything that happened that day. And then the last thing is definitely, if you have a planner or a coordinator, is working with them to make sure they understand what is the most important parts of the wedding for you. So like a wedding that I worked with a couple is that they had a list of things that they wanted to do. But as soon as I saw that the pebek was a line at the door, pebek people trying to like throw them, I was like, okay, we're going to cut something, because they weren't going to make their timeline. But I knew what was important for them, so I could cut out the others. And I just confirmed with them, like, this is what we're going to cut out so that we make sure we get to this. So making sure that they understand that, so they can make those decisions the day of, not having to come to you like, what should we cut out or whatever. It's just, yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we went through a lot of stuff, right? Any last words of wisdom?
I would say, don't combine multiple life transitions at one time. And what that means is, don't try to plan a wedding, a honeymoon, buy a house, all at the same time. It's just, you're just compounding that stress on top of one another, on top of trying to work with someone as a couple on making these big life decisions.
Right.
So what I would suggest is focus on one thing. You don't have to go on the honeymoon right after the wedding.
Right.
Take some time, like enjoy being married, and then go on honeymoon later. The house can come later too. Like you just don't want to feel rushed into whatever. And then lastly, I would just say, have fun.
Yeah. I think as long as you have fun, you're the couple, right?
Yes.
You just need to walk away feeling like I had a great time.
Right.
That's what matters.
Yes. Enjoy the food that you paid for. Enjoy the drinks that you paid for.
Which sometimes couples don't get to eat.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah. But good coordinators will make sure that food and drinks are always available, making sure they're being fed, they're hydrated. Stay hydrated. Oh, yeah, I've seen grooms faint.
Yes.
Because they weren't hydrated.
Yeah. All right, last question.
Okay.
That came in. If you could choose, would you rather have a Korean style wedding or an American style wedding?
I feel like Korean style weddings seem so easy, or at least what I've seen
in drama, right?
Yeah, that's in dramas, it's like they do everything for you. You just it feels like I just show up and then
That's what I hear.
I don't know what it's like.
You just pick whatever, but I'm assuming that costs a lot of money.
I don't know.
No, I don't know.
But I think for the ease of it, that's probably easier. I would say, because it sounds like you just pick a package. But does that really feel like me and my soon-to-be husband? Yeah, I would say personally I would go more American style. But that could be more American, and I'm okay with planning. But it's up to everyone. Your preference.
I prefer American. I think. I prefer courthouse. If I can do it again, I mean not I can do it again. Like I really wanted to do like elopement or something like that, and then I think our parents would have.
Yeah, I've joked that to my friends that if you get a call from me, a random call, and I say we're going to Vegas, that means I'm getting married. If you're there, you're there. If you're not, you're not.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining and leaving us comments. We also want to again highlight Gohl Choe Chiropractic for sponsoring our YouTube live today. Please check them out if you ever need some chiropractic services and you're in pain. Our next live stream is going to be on Friday, August 14th. We're going to talk about AI and social services and how that kind of is being intersected the intersection of it these days, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're having Bola, one of our mental health therapists, join us. And actually, we're going to talk about this the entire month of August.
Yes.
So Bola is going to talk about it with me in Korean, August 14th, and then in English with Shayna later on August 28th. It's going to be really great. I think it's a very important topic right now. So please join us. You know, as always, if you enjoyed our live, please subscribe, like, and we'll say goodbye here. Bye from K-Fam.